Hello, hello, and welcome back for yet another week of the Aegis Executioners League. Today we're going to have a match between Dorado Gaming Iota and Crowd Control Inhouses. And joining me once again is Chong Solmo. And how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited for the match that we have before us. Two teams kind of similar in standing right now. Both, I believe, are 1-1, already having their buys for this side of the bracket. So, going to be a good matchup, kind of similar to what we had last week, where you got to start separating yourself from the gap the closer we get to those playoffs. And this is a matchup to do that in. Personally, I'm going to be favoring the Dorado team, just knowing these names a little bit better and checking out solo queue stats. But that doesn't mean that crowd control isn't a solid team in their own right. I think they might be able to push Dorado to limits that they might not be comfortable with, but we won't be able to see what happens until we actually see the gameplay on the Rift.
Yeah, and to introduce that roster, it is going to be Cali G in the top lane, Hulzer in the jungle, NBK mid, Mustard bot lane, and Gremlin in support. And there's not going to be any subs today either, as far as I'm aware. So both teams are going to be playing their starters. So Panda and Robust Octopus, while they're on the roster, we're not going to be seeing them at least for game number one today. But look, with what you said though, I think I do agree. I think I do favor Dorado Gaming as well today. Uh, the main thing that we can kind of compare them on is both sides have played against Shadow Garden Hexroot Covenant. Dorado won 2-0 against them, and Crowd Control In-Houses lost 2-0 against them. But speaking of Crowd Control In-Houses, if we can get to the next line, we do have their full roster here as well. And again, all going to be starters. So it's going to be GG, no rematch in the top lane, 55 Azrael in the jungle, Festus in the mid lane, Bogger Unleashed in the bot lane, and CCI Richard from the support role. And again, Sleepy H2O, Eva, I'm So Cheeky, also part of the roster, but not going to be playing in game number one.
Yeah, I think the players that I'm really looking at in this crowd control roster are GG, No Rematch, and Festus. They've been playing a lot of in their series recently, Rumble and Talia for the solo lane. So really curious to see if they're going to be able to get that and make an impact on the map with those heavy AP picks, with Azrael being on something more AD or tanky to facilitate those ones. But it's going to be interesting how Dorado wants to attack this roster in draft, just because of how focused they are around their solo lanes, with Bogar Unleashed kind of being like the late game insurance policy for this crowd control in-houses team.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said earlier, they are both 1-1. So despite me favoring Dorado, I do think this should be a pretty close game. Uh, it is early in the season as well. So again, especially with both of these two teams having a bye week, it's just going to be those two matches that we're really basing them off of today, as we are going to be heading into the draft for game number one. And last week we had a few skip bans, but this week everyone showed up mostly on time. So we're just gonna head right into it. And already two junglers getting banned. Poppy banned by Dorado, and CCI banning out the Viego.
Yeah, the Viego is no surprise. Huxler, the jungler for Dorado, has like almost 250 games on this champion in solo queue this season. But the Poppy ban for the side of Dorado isn't actually a jungle ban. It's a support against CCI Richard in the support role, while Udyr is the jungle ban away from Azrael, who almost has 200 Udyr games this season in solo queue. So these junglers have been grinding. They have their main champions, but neither of them are going to be getting onto those ones in game number one here.
Yeah, and now we're starting to transition to the mid lane. And it seems like both of these two teams have the exact same banning pattern, where they ban out the junglers first, then swap into the mid lane, as we see Ryze and Talia banned away, though Pantheon most likely going to be banned towards the jungle. We do see it on support occasionally, but I think that's more of a solo queue pick rather than a competitive pick. But first pick is available, and I know both these teams do like Jinx. I know Jinx is quite popular right now, so gonna be interesting to see what they do lock in, and it's actually gonna be the Lucian.
All right, so we talked about Lucian last week, how like Lucian Nami isn't the best Lucian duo out there. Like we're talking like Milio and Braum are better pairings. There's some better ones for Lucian, but Lucian is probably one of the strongest AD carries right now. I think like Lucian's up there with like the likes of Jinx, Zeri, and Tristana. I think those four are kind of like the best ones. Even Kai'Sa's up there as well. And then it's like a little bit of everybody else. So Dorado is going to go with a high carry, low range AD carry here with their first pick. But looking at Mustard, he should be able to perform on this champion. Can be a little bit more difficult with 5 Ezreal picking up the Vi here as the R1 for the side of Crown Control Inhouses, and then followed up by Ezreal just having that safety in lane and the space to try to have Lucian not be able to get on top of you and just absolutely one-tap you with whatever support pairing side of Dorado does choose to go here. But CCI already having some early game damage with the Vi, and then if Ezreal lands skill shots, we know how much damage an Ezreal actually can put out in these games.
Yeah, but interesting to see the Milio, first of all, coming out. Not what I was going to talk about, but I mean, I'm also a huge fan of Lucian Milio. And like you said, it's a very short-range AD carry, and Milio just kind of fully nullifies that problem that Lucian has while still enabling him to really deal a lot of that damage that we all know Lucian can bring out. But I really like that Ahri pick coming out from Dorado. Just because Vi Ahri is one of the biggest mid-jungle pairs. But Ahri doesn't need the Vi, whereas I think a lot of other mid laners are a lot worse when you do pair it with the Vi. So I think it's a pretty good takeaway. It's going to remove that combo, as we do see a Nico being the final pick for crowd control. And I assume that's going to be support Nico. I know it did get a pretty substantial damage nerf in terms of the poke damage it can bring out, but the control is still very solid.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, with the Vi Ahri point, also Talia being banned, that's another really good pairing for Vi, so not even going to have that. Nico most likely should be in the support role, like you did say. CCI Richard seems to be the Nico player out of the two, but Nico Vi isn't a terrible mid-jungle combo. You do have a lot of CC out of there. It just might lack damage at some point, but right now Dorado can really pair anything with the Ahri. They could go with a more tankier jungle if they're looking for that engage, or still go with an aggressive carry style of jungler here for their jungler. But looking at the bans, we have the Yorick banned away from GG No Rematch. I believe he's played it a few times already this season, and they have one on it on the side of Crown Control Inhouses, waiting for their second ban. But Nozen's now going to be picked up for the side of Dorado with the ban away, and not give Shed over to give some safety to those aggressive dive style of champions with the Lucian and the Ahri, not going to give them that shield to keep them safe on top of it.
And we are going to see the Mel being the final ban coming out from Dorado. And I think that does make a decent amount of sense. I think a Mel would be really bad in their composition. So far, they've already picked 3 range. The culling getting reversed would be not super great. I think that's the best way to put that. I think that's the industry term, though. All the LCS coaches, or LTA, I should say, would consider that not good. But it's going to be the Sylas locked in. So that will most definitely be the mid laner. Well, it's going to be the mid laner, let's be honest. And it's pretty good to take away Spirit Rush. The cleanse from Milio could be useful depending on the situation as well. And then the culling, if you're feeling bold. I think there's some situations, but definitely not going to be the main one. And Cataclysm from the J4. That would also be a solid pick, and really like that pick overall for Dorado.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Festus for Crowd Control, the real ultimates that he's going to be looking to grab is that Spirit Rush and that Breath of Life for those teamfight potentials and resets. Like you said, the cleanse on that Milio ult, also scaling with that AP for even bigger healing, it's going to be pretty impactful in the teamfights, but I think 9 times out of 10 he's going to be looking for that Spirit Rush mostly, and then maybe like Tertiary, Cataclysm, or Dominus. But side of Dorado, very, very aggressive early game style of comp here. They're going to have this one pop off in the early game and try not to get outscaled by that Sylas, by that Ezreal, and whatever the last pick is going to be here for the side of GG No Rematch, getting that R5 kind of big top.
Jax.
It's a Jax, so a lot of scaling focus on the side of CCI, while it's all early game on the side of Dorado. I mean, Lucian scales a lot better than he used to, but still very, very early game focus here for Dorado.
Yeah, but one thing I do like is that Bogger is going to be on the Ezreal. And it isn't an early game ADC, but it's also not a full late game. Once you get those 2 items, the Essence Reaver and the Manamune, you're already scaled. You're already going to be kind of at your strongest point. You'll still get stronger, but you will definitely be impactful in fights. And I think with the Vi and with the utility from Nico, they should be able to survive the early game, or at the very least, it's not something where they're going to get completely run over. Like you said, that late game, it's very much on the side of crowd control Inhouses. But it's time to ask the question, with these 2 teams, which draft do you favor overall, though?
I'm going to be favoring think they have the skill set and the type of players to be able to execute on this early game draft. If they're able to do it, it should be a pretty dominant game for them. If they get a lead in any of these roles, whether it's the top, mid, or AD carry, they should just have the objective control on that side of the map and be able to snowball that into the later half of the game, making sure that they're positioning well. But on the side of crowd control, they still have the angles to make fights happen. They have good engage potentials and way to come back in the games, but I still do favor Dorado here.
And it's interesting because I think I agree with you overall. But one big thing I do want to notice, they don't really have a lot of AoE on the side of Dorado. The same is mostly true with crowd control Inhouses. It's really just going to be CCI Richard looking for that pop loss. And I think that's going to be kind of the make or break for these team fights. If Richard can get 3 or 4 people, that should turn the fight towards crowd control. But if CCI Richard either goes down or only gets 1, or even possibly gets everyone except Gremlin, and then that heal and cleanse for later on could also turn the fight back around. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be looking mostly at Richard this game.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows Nico from her dominance in pro play in that support role, looking for those big engages and how much actual threat she can provide into that support role with looking for all those pokes and hard trades. So if Nico doesn't get ahead or get a significant enough lead, it's going to be really difficult to play Nico in the later games because there's so much one-shot potential on the side of Dorado. So like you said, CCI Richard is going to have a rough game for him, but if he's able to perform on this Nico and look like a pop-off player, it's going to be a great look for him.
Yep. And now with that, we are going to go to a short break while we do the in-client draft and then the spec delay. But when we come back, it's going to be game number 1 between Dorado Gaming Iota and Crowd Control Inhouses. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.
push it away. In dance chase and whispers before they all just fade. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? I will find a this porcelain mirage may start to break. Each piece a reminder, every single little mistake. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? Tell me why it won't ever be the same. I'll burn it all, no matter who's to blame. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And every time I close my eyes, a little less of you remains.
That delay, but we are back into the game here. And yeah, we had a little bit of issues with the client, but the important thing is we are here and we are back now and we are ready to go. And we're 12 minutes in, but it is just a 1-1 right now. So at the very least, we didn't miss too much. And with the gold state being the way it is, looks to be pretty even right now.
Yeah, and just looking at everything that's been happening so far, it looks most of the action has been around that mid lane. That's where all the kills have fallen. Looks like the jungler for the side of Dorado was the one to fall, while Festus was the one to fall for the side of crowd control. It must have been a early game scrap. Pretty even on objectives. It is 1-1 on the dragons. The void grubs went over to the side of crowd control, so they're just one away from that feat of monster slaying, but any team can still pick up that first turret or the first 3 kills to be able to get towards those total feats of strength.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take a look over at the items here for one moment, but I mean, everything seems really even. But one thing I am actually noticing, there's a pretty sizable CS gap over in the top side for CCI. And like we were talking about earlier, this is kind of that later game composition from them. So the fact that they're ahead as it is right now is already pretty big for them.
Yeah, and I mean, Jax is a pretty good R5 pick there into the Renekton. You kind of just cancel out what most Renekton wants to do anytime he tries to go for that stun off the feast, and you just counter-strike it. He doesn't do anything, and then you're able to get the free re-engage. And the early investment into those tabbies, or plated steel caps nowadays, is very smart.
Oh, but yeah, the pop blossom is going to be coming through, and it looks like Callie G just a little bit alone 1v4, going to get punished for that, and that's another pretty good move for CCI. The Herald hasn't spawned quite yet, but it looks like they've already brought the cavalry for it.
Yeah, really nice play, nice form to pick that one off, and everybody was just in the right place, right time, and the kill went over to exactly who he wanted to. Went on to Boogar on this Ezreal, getting him an early kill. He's even in CS, but being up a kill now and on the way to the Trinity Force is going to be feeling pretty good about that one, considering he's behind an item right now as Mustard is on that Essence Reaver. But it looks like teams are still posturing around here, looking for this Rift Herald. Bargar should be free or fine here because he is Ezreal, has that Essence Flux, but nothing really happening, just battling over vision and wave control, getting ready for that next objective to spawn up here.
Yeah, and the Herald now going to be up. It looks like both these two teams, they are bringing in everyone, but NBK right now, just getting a free turret in the bot lane, actually an entire turret. And that's the first turret too. That's actually really big for the side of Dorado, just going to be able to get that feat for themselves. I think it's still 1-1 in terms of total feet, so it's really going to come down to these objectives now. And Herald has been pulled by crowd control in-houses, so they are getting set up for it. Looks like the fight is going to be coming through. There's TPs coming in from both sides, but they choose to go in instead. And they're going to be looking for this Jarvan. They're just going to be able to immediately delete them. The Kali G still coming through the backside, and the Pop Blossom not going to land, but it will zone away Kali G and MBK. But MBK going to be the next target, and Richard going to be able to get that kill and the stun. Right now, just everything going the way of CCI at 3-0, and they're going to be able to secure this Herald for themselves as well.
Yeah, that Herald play was set up so well by the side of CCI. They were just able to mechanically and execute on it perfectly, pick off the enemy jungler, and then the second NBK TP's in there and tries to make a play happen with Kali G. Richard is there with the Pop Blossom again, forces them back, but they just do not get to escape because Jax, Vi, and the Silas are on the chase with their CC and able to get on top of them with those small dashes that they all do have. So able to pick up the first 3 kills, able to pick up the Rift Herald, so that will give them the full feat of strength, even though they lost that first turret in the bot lane as NBK was split pushing down there before that play even started up. So overall, CCI going to be feeling pretty positive about that play, and now they can get back on the map and look to set up around this dragon with the power that they just have. You can see everybody is on a fully completed item now, except for both supports at this point in the game.
Yeah, they're also going to have the opportunity to just pop the Herald, kind of get an automatic mid-prio as this dragon is spawning. But already seeing an interesting play coming out right now from Festus, starting to group up and will get caught by the Demacian standard. But again, that's just going to be first move, favoring CCI here. Herald's still not going to get popped. It's going to get used now, and the dragon is up. Is NBK going to start trading a little bit with Festus? Going to be a little bit of a one trade. No major cooldowns have been used. And as I say that, the Arcane Rush is going to be there. NBK just going to be forced to pop it as well. So both Festus and NBK have already used their ultimates. NBK still trying to fish for something, and actually will get the charm. And they're just going to be able to take down Azrael. Or at least I thought they were going to be, but will be able to run away instead. And with that, they will be able to get the turret in the top side, because during all of this, GG no rematch is just going to be consistently split pushing already onto that tier 2. And now with the True Shot Barrage as well, they're going to lose the dragon on the side of CCI, but Azrael was able to back away as actually the Pop Blossom looking towards Mustard, and it is going to force out the flash. But overall, I think huge winning trade going over towards CCI.
Yeah, before that dragon fight started, I thought NBK had the potential to be caught out because he didn't have flash at the time and the Spirit Rush was on Festus, but it was a nice collapse on the side of Dorado to get towards their mid lane and to make sure that Azrael and Festus could just not pick off NBK in that point. But like you said, they lose tower in top, they lose tower in mid. Yes, they get the dragon. They don't get the kill onto Azrael though, so he was barely able to escape for his life despite having all 5 members.
Oh, but they're starting to group up. Azrael going to get knocked away by the Ultra Mega Fire Kick, but instead it's going to be Mustard. Bogar Unleashed going to be able to knock that kill as Gremlin trying to back away. Festus trying to catch up, won't be able to find the angle, but it's going to be a nice pickoff for CCI, and once again, they have their full team mid, and actually all 5 members this early on, and they're just going to brute force this tier 2, and they're just really starting to get away with this game.
Yeah, Mustard definitely overstayed his time in the mid lane trying to push down that turret with no flash after he had to burn it when the Pop Blossom did come out from Richard there. So it was a nice rotation there by GG No Rematch to get that wraparound and be able to get the pick on the enemy AD carry. And then with 2 Grub Strong and an Ezreal and a Jax, they can take turrets so quickly in this game with those Sheen procs, with the auto resets and everything, and the bonus statements that they all do have on those. So very easily just able to pick up 2 turrets in the mid lane off losing 1 dragon and get an extra kill on top of it. I mean, CCI is feeling very good at this point in the game with the better scaling comp.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely working out quite well for them. And like you said, it's a really solid scaling comp as well. They don't really need to push the pace at all. They can just kind of continue with what they've been doing, just getting a pick off and getting objectives after that once the fight is no longer an option for Dorado. And GG no rematch just getting so much priority over in that side lane. NBK kind of forced to match that because I think at this point, actually, even NBK struggling a little bit, decent trade going back and forth. But what I want to say is CaliG would definitely struggle as they're forced to use the Spirit Rush. NBK could be trying to get back in. Grandmaster at Arms going to get popped as well. Just one more jump and will be able to get the kill. Now Gremlin is on the way. It is just Emilio, but they're going to have Hulzer coming in from the side as well. And GG no rematch actually going to be able to get away. The flag and drag missed. So that Jax is going to be able to get away scot-free. And the Otacon is up on the map. So CCI going to be able to get themselves another objective and another pickoff.
Yeah, GG no rematch is just a pressure sponge there in that play. Gets the solo kill, gets the Spirit Rush and the flash off of NBK to pick that one up, and doesn't even need to flash himself to get away from safety because Holzer messed up the flag and drag combo. Jax is just able to walk away from that one, and I don't think there's anybody on the side of Dorado that can match this Jax anymore. He has 2 items. He can 1v1 anybody. We saw he's got no magic resist, and he's just able to 1v1 this Ahri at this point in the game. So side of CCI is feeling so strong at this point in the game. They, like you said, they get the Otacon for themselves because they send 3 people bot lane, one of them being the jungler. It's just a free objective take at that point, and now they can just take whatever they want at this point in the game. They're just going to be looking to start fights whenever they have a chance. I wouldn't be surprised to see Richard do a Nico minion play at some point in one of these side lanes or even potentially in the mid lane while there is no flash on Mustard still.
Yeah, and I think the really scary part for them will actually hold that thought as fast is gonna be getting jumped upon right now. Hulzer and Gremlin, they're both in the area as well, but again, Gremlin is on Emilio, so that offensive play is just not gonna happen. But Azriel gonna be walking into the brush, gonna get hit by the super mega fire kick, and instead it's gonna be the pop blossom looking towards MBK, but MBK not gonna be caught into it, but sees an assist will, and now Richard is gonna be alone, caught out right now, so it's mid for support trade for now. CaliG trying to chase on Borgar, but Borgar is just going to be able to phase shift away and will be just in a really safe spot there. And now they're going to start looking towards this dragon. 45 seconds left until the spawn, and without the Ahri, without NBK, I think it'll be very difficult for them to contest onto it. But they have 2 dragons already, and I think Dorado kind of has to go in on it.
Yeah, and I mean, the Festus has TP if they want to set up for this play. They lost NBK on the side of Dorado, so it's definitely a lot more difficult for them to set up for these objectives. And also, I'm not the biggest fan of this Ahri build where you go Malignant, Horizon Focus. It kind of feels like you just do no damage. You become a charm bot at that point, and if you're dead or not landing charms, you're kind of just useless in these team fights in comparison to what CCI is doing, where everybody's building damage so far. So it's going to be really difficult for NBK in this game to really do anything in the side lane. Otherwise, they're getting ticked off in these team fights, makes it even worse. As Dragon's going to be started up, Dorado is not going to be giving this one over. We can see that they are looking to go towards this one, but I think they got bigger issues in the bot lane, while GG no rematch just takes a turret in CaliG's face, and now the play can be made after this for Nectin.
And CaliG, even with the help of the turret, can't really do much. It's actually the flash going to get forced out. And now they're looking for more. Pop Blossom going to land onto one. And True Shot Barrage over top is going to get the kill. Booger Unleashed going to be able to get that as NBK trying to use the Spirit Rush to get away. But that's all that Spirit Rush is going to be able to accomplish. It's just a defensive ability at this point. As once again, 2-for-0, Dragon and Tier 1 all going in favor of crowd control Inhouses. And they're just looking really, really clean this series so far.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like every play they are making is just coming up on their side. They feel like they haven't made a mistake so far in what we have seen. And we saw NBK try to TP in to make that play happen, but it just didn't matter. The second he TPs in, he has to use that Spirit Rush to immediately get himself out because there are 5 members on top of him. And I mean, there's like no damage on the side of Dorado at this point. This was a comp that needed to get ahead early, and they were not able to do that. So it's just an even harder game for them to play themselves. They're going to have to make sure they're making the right plays and sacking certain sides of the map to be able to get some of these objectives or these bounties on this that CCI has been accruing. But it's just very difficult at this point. It looks like CCI can just basically 5-man, 4-man stack wherever they want, force a team fight to happen, and be able to get the kills that they need to be able to push these objectives down even further. I mean, I think NBK is going to be caught out here again, but
NBK going to use that Spirit Rush, and Vesta's going to be able to steal it away now, but both sides, they are grouping. The Baron is going to be up on the map, and it looks like CCI might even be considering just taking this right on spawn. Kali G is in the side lane, but no TP. If they're tracking those teleport timers, they know that this Renekton's not going to be able to join into the fight here. So at the very best case scenario for Dorado, it is going to be a 4v5. But Hauser is getting set up. They don't have vision quite yet, but they are looking for it. The Cullen going to be coming out over top. And again, 4k HP, 3k Hauser going to be going at Bob Blossom over top. And who's going to get the Baron? It is going to go over to CCI. And now they could be looking for more. Cease and desist going on to Mustard as Fest is just trying to get on to Mustard, looking for the chains. And they will be able to connect. And in the end, NBK is just going to be the next one to fall, trying to back away. Does land the charm, buys a little bit of space that way. But one more set of chains gonna be sized up by NBK. But that's still another 2-for-0, and the Baron going over to CCI.
Yeah, and now they're going to have to defend for their lives because there is a potential end angle here. The minion wave is already here. They're already pushing in, but I believe with health bars being too low, CCI is just going to make the smart play, take the recall, spend all their gold, and it just feels like this entire game, anytime NBK has Spirit Rush, it has just been used defensively because they're just not in the right position because their team is just getting two deaths right as the fight starts. CCI is just able to get the fights on their terms, able to get the engaged to have these pop blossoms out of Richard. Yes, they've mostly been just one-man pop blossoms, but the amount of space that it creates is so impactful in these team fights because we were talking about how the side of Dorado is such a low-range composition with this Lucian, with this Ahri, and then you have J4 Renekton. They need to be on top of the enemies, and when that whole AoE circle comes out of CCI Richard, they just have to run for the hills, and it just puts them in such a bad position on the side of Dorado that the chase down on the CCI comp, like I was saying before, with the Silas, Ezreal, Jax, and Vi, they're just able to continue to push forward when they're trying to run for the hills and able to pick off these kills and able to make it all work. And this comp and this game so far out of CCI has been looking phenomenal.
Yeah, and they've been playing it extremely cleanly too. Very few mistakes. The only death we've seen on stream is Richard's, I believe. So Festus did die once before we were able to connect into the game, but other than that, almost a perfect game coming out of CCI for now. And it looks like they're going to be able to continue that a little bit more because right now, GG No Rematch just going to be playing in the top side and can just fully ignore this Renekton. I mean, that's definitely not what you want. Renekton wants to be that dominating force, but Dominate is going to start popping open. And GG No Rematch might have stepped a little bit too far trying to back away, but they're sending 4 members towards them. And they're not even going to be able to find the Jax. So because of that, NBK's alone trying to hold in this bot lane, and they're going to get onto this tier 3 as well. The charm is going to come in, and again, the Spirit Rush used defensively. And they won't be able to secure these inhibitors, but every single outer turret is now gone from Dorado as their base just starts closing in on itself.
Yeah, I mean, GG No Rematch literally said he did not care how many people he sent because it's not going to be enough. Took the turret in the face, even took like 3 tower shots, I believe, because he had that counter-strike up and got it hit onto Kali G and then was just able to make the escape. And now there's just going to be another Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking to fight. Festus going in, but the team's not going to follow, and Dorado doesn't want that fight either. So they're both just going to go their separate ways.
Yeah, I mean, CCI just has a stronghold on this game, on this map. I mean, at this point, what does Dorado have to do to come back in this one? They need to be making picks on the side lane. You saw they tried to go for GG No Rematch, but they were slow on the rotation, so he was able to escape with just a sliver of HP, and it makes them lose their bot side of the map because only NBK was defending. But, I mean, if you're faster on the side of Dorado to make that rotation in the side lane and get that shutdown onto your Lucian or maybe even onto the Renekton at this point, it would be impactful. But you got to be quicker on these decisions. You have to make them faster to make it work. But they're just playing too trepidatious for themselves, not wanting to overcommit to something and potentially lose the game for it. But that's what you have to do at this point. When you are down this much gold, you have to be willing to make those plays that it's like, hey, this could not be the right play, but this is our way back into this game, and this is the one that we have to do.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be difficult for them now that they are at that point. And we've mentioned this many a time during the draft and a couple times during the cast already, but they're the early game composition. The later this game goes, the more it's going to benefit CCI. And right now with their lead, it could benefit more. But now Hauser looking to go in. Kali G already popped the dominance, but again, the Pop Blossom onto 3. But CCI Richard is going to be the first one to go down. Astro now in the middle of everyone. Season assist onto the backline. They're looking for the solution. and Mustard is going to be going down. And now Fest is still DPSing over top. GG no rematch still alive and full HP. They're got 2 already on Bogar, as Bogar still continuing to DPS. Triple kill so far. Tries to go in with the Arcane Shift, but the chain's not going to land either. So it is going to be the 3-4-2, which not bad for Dorado, but they also lost in the HP. They're looking onto these Nexus towers too. The second inhibitor has already gone, and now they're going golden over in that mid side, but NBK could be the next target. Will be able to just get out for now. Nefestus with the Stolen Dominate, looking for Cali G. Cali G able to get the stun on a GG no rematch. And they're both just kind of trying to zone them out. The HP bar slowly going down, but NBK getting forced down entirely as CCI take down the Nexus and take game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, CCI just looked so dominant in that game. Bogar got 1 kill and just completely snowballed it, as did GG no rematch. They just took over that game, those two, and made it a problem for the side of Dorado to play for that one. I mean, the Jax just took so much pressure, created so much pressure, and just was not able to be responded to. And then Bogar in these team fights was absolutely dominant, with Richard, Azriel, and Festus just being those facilitators, making the fights happen to let their actual carries take over. And CCI looked dominant here in this first game.
Yeah, they looked extremely well. And I mean, I still have to give a little bit of credit to Dorado because, like you said, they needed to take a fight that was kind of in a weird spot. Because when you're that far behind, if you have any kind of fight where you think you can get anything at all, you need to take it. And that's exactly what they did. They were even able to take down Richard very early on. And in the end, a 2-for-3 trade when you're down like 10k gold, that's a good look. It was the right call to do it. But at that point, the scaling and the gold advantage the CCI has already had has been just way too much for them to be able to take that fight.
I mean, and like you said, they got 2 kills, but it wasn't the right 2 kills because the Ezreal was still alive and the Jax was still alive. And like I said before, with the grub buffs and both of them being Trinity Force users, they're just able to melt the turrets, and that's exactly what they did. They literally, in NBK and Cali's face, they did not care about it, all able to live through that end of the game to get that 50 gold Nexus explosion. And CCI basically just has to do what they did in this first game in the game number 2, while Dorado kind of has to hit the drawing board again and maybe come up with some more scaling options for their draft, or maybe readapt how they played the early game to be able to make a comp like that work. But it's hard. It's easier said than done. They're going to have an uphill battle for them in starting in game number 2.
Yeah, and with that, we are going to be going to a short break. But when we come back, we're going to be heading right into draft for that game number 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back again soon.
closer, but with a deeper sweat. Oh, beneath them we look on. When they part comes the hatred they bring. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their face. So stand upon these fallen lands and follow in our Father's plans. Yeah, until the end we will remain, and we'll hold on until our last breath. So what is to be left for us? My people look on and say, don't fear what you don't know, 'cause we're far from certain fate. And we'll make our final stand. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares.
And we are back already with game number 2 between Crowd Control Inhouses and Dorado Gaming Iota. CCI currently up 1-0, and they had an incredibly clean game 1. So going to be interesting to see what the draft adaptations are going to be in this game number 2, and what Dorado Gaming are going to be able to bring out to try and bring this series back.
Yeah, and I mean, so far, bans are mostly the same. Okay, I thought that Poppy ban was locked in, and I was like, why is CCI banning their own Poppy way? But bans are the same so far, except now I believe this is a different ban. Galio going to be banned away from NBK in this game. I've played against NBK's Galio personally. It's pretty oppressive, so I'm not surprised to see CCI picking that one as a ban here. But I was looking at solo queue stuff for both these teams, and there's a champion that CCI Richard does play, and I'm really curious if they will be willing to bust it out in comp, because they have a good win rate on it in solo queue, and it's not a champion a lot of people are expecting. I mean, I'll be honest, it's Zillion, and I would love to see a Zillion get picked up. That is an interesting champion to watch be played and piloted to an effectiveness. But getting back in on this draft, Xin Zhao the pick for CCI Richard, really strong jungler. Always has that early game potential with his high damage stats and his skirmish potential, while Dorado gonna go with the Sivir and Sejuani as their 1-2 combo here.
Yeah, and you were talking earlier about that Rumble coming in for CCI, and they're going to lock that in for their top lane, and the Varus going to be going into the bot lane. But I really like that they took the Xin Zhao as their first pick, especially on blue side. It kind of is that quote-unquote final oppressive bruiser jungler that is remaining in the pool, with J4 and Vi getting removed because of Fearless. The tanks are still available, and we saw Sejuani get locked in for Dorado, and with Iota in the mid lane, could get some pretty good use out of that. So the jungle mid pairing looks pretty strong for Dorado. But I am a little bit concerned about their draft so far, just because I don't know how I feel about Sivir this game. I'll be completely honest. I think they might want something that can be strong a little bit earlier, because right now, Sejuani doesn't really bring too much damage. Yone will bring damage, but also still needs some time and cannot solo carry without a snowball. So I would like to see something a little bit stronger early on for their last 2 picks.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to go with an AP top laner here. I know Kylie G does play the Gwen. I mean, it does pair well with Sejuani. It is one of those solo laners, but also gives you that AP aspect. But if you're not looking for that, you know, melee synergy, I'm curious if, like, you can bust out an Aurora top lane or something like that. And with Ryze being banned, that's not going to be an option. But with Rumble being picked, there's not many AP viable options left in the top lane unless you're going to put that Yone top lane and pick a different AP mid laner. But Dorado still has a lot of questions in their draft. I'm curious what support they're going to go with. No Milio for Sivir. Maybe we're going to get a Nami pick or a Lulu pick to pair with her. But you could still go with an engage option. Sivir doesn't need an Enchantress to be able to function. You could go Leona or something like that, but not going to be able to go Rel because it was banned away. We're going to go with a kind of hybrid approach to it and pick the Rakan and a Lissandra. Okay, this better be Lissandra support for CCI Richard. And if it is, I'm very, very excited for it because Lissandra is such a hard, oppressive counter to Rakan, similar to Poppy, but has more lockdown potential. You have the root with your W and your ultimate as well. Never mind.
I mean, I saw what you were cooking. I mean, I think it is really good into Rakan for all the reasons you were about to bring up. But, I mean, Rob's not bad either. We'll at least lower the damage from Sivir.
It's a neutral matchup. Rob Rakan is like 50-50. Look, I'm a support main. And I remember there's a long time ago, somebody was like, they picked Rakan. They're like, Chong, do you play Lissandra? And I was like, yeah, I play it, fully lying, and then like absolutely neutered the champion. I was like, okay, I see why people play Lissandra into this, and I was really hoping that we were going to get that. But Brahma to Rakan, it's a 50-50 support matchup. They kind of really don't do anything to each other, and they kind of just both exist in the lane, just really helping out their AD carries. But the Camille pick for Cali G up in the top lane to go into this Rumble, that is going to be an explosive top lane matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the lane to watch for this game. I mean, realistically, Yone and Lissandra, they want to kill each other. I don't think either of them are really able to do it. Maybe NBK could take down Festus, but it would definitely require jungle intervention. But this Rumble Camille, I think that's going to be the most volatile. And especially with the Sejuani pairing with the Camille, that'll make it a lot more dangerous. But at the same time, Azrael on this Xin Zhao is going to be a threat on his own. The 2v2, I'm actually curious, who do you favor for the 2v2 in the top side?
I would have to say the Rumble Xin Zhao just because of the damage potential, but like Camille has the Cho'Gath Feast on her Q and then pairs really well with Sejuani, so it's like, it's really hard because Azrael and GG No Rematch have to like play it kind of perfectly to not get absolutely deleted by Cali G's Camille. They kind of have to like get the spacing down correctly and, you know, juggling up positioning, but it's kind of a coin flip top lane matchup. I think just because of damage output potential, I would favor the Rumble Xin Zhao over the Camille Sejuani, despite the powerful synergy that Camille Sejuani is.
Well, and then with that, gotta go back to our usual question. Who do you favor in this draft overall?
I mean, it's crowd control this game, honestly. I think they just have the better draft. I think all of it works better together, maybe minus the Rumble, but if you get a nice Braum ult and then the red carpet over top of that Glacial Fissure, it's going to be so good. And then just the way they drafted with this, like they knew they were going to get counterpicked top lane, but then they picked Lissandra to counterpick the Yone in the mid lane, so I really like that pick out of Festus. And I just think crowd control has the better comp, but Dorado has a kind of easier execution with their comp because they have that Sejuani. You just kind of ult somebody or you get somebody in the Camille and then you follow everything up on that one. But overall, after how crowd control played game number 1, they're going to be my favorites in game number 2.
All right, well, we'll see who's going to be able to come out on top after we go to a short break. But when we come back, crowd control in-house is going to try to get that 2-0 at Dorado Gaming. All right, and we are back with game number 2 between CCI and Dorado. And already a pretty interesting start. It looks like there's going to be a 5-man invade coming in from crowd control Inhouses, but do they really have a target right now?
I mean, even if they don't, with a late invade with Braum, Lissandre, even Zinzao Varus, you can quickly stack up and layer CC on top of people. I assume that Festus is not going to start W. He's probably starting Q here, but I do have a little nitpick. GG no rematchers not doing the rumble tech where you sit in base with double glowing motes and just spam your abilities to have that 50%.
But they're moving in, and it's just going to be the word. Okay, so not a lot of excitement going to be happening here, but the vision actually probably going to end up favoring Dorado because they're able to get a... Oh, no, they're only going to leave one as well. So everything said and done is just going to be an even trade across the map.
Yeah, I mean, they get the vision on both sides. It's going to be on both Raptors, but because of this, both junglers are not going to start on their Raptors, but that means that they know where both junglers are starting because of that. But now you see that Mustard and Gremlin are looking to maybe get a level 1 cheese, but Bogar and Richard are super late on this. So if Mustard and Gremlin wanted to, they could hard push this first wave and get that early reset back to their turret, but it looks like they're just going to be slow playing this one out, which means Bogar and Richard aren't going to lose out on XP for their slow path back to the bot side after being up there for that vision play.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they're even going to be too behind a priority, minus the natural priority that Sivers going to be able to get anyway. I mean, those ricochet buffs are so good to get that early level 2 as Gremlin actually taking a lot of autos there. Almost gets procced on those concussive blows. But level 2 should be coming out shortly for Mustard, and Gremlin could look to go in, but isn't going to use the grand entrance until now, looking for Richard. And it's just going to be a heavy trade, but no one's going to be going down yet.
Yeah, Richard's going to be fine to be able to take that one up with the Guardian and just chugs the potions to be able to stay in this lane. But Mustard and Gremlin have a firm control of this lane, but that's kind of what Sivir does. Like you said, those ricochet buffs from a few patches ago make her so much stronger early and can skirmish a lot better in the early games instead of starting that boomerang blade. You just start with a ricochet, you get the auto reset, and they do more damage at that first rank. So really strong laning as a bit of a trade up here in the top lane. Nothing really happening. Callie a little late on that passive to get back, so it takes a little bit more damage than he would have liked. But Gremlin makes a roam to the mid lane off an early reset here.
Yeah, and Festus is going to be trading with NPK, but Gremlin only going to be coming in near the end of that. So I don't know if that's a miscommunication or what's going on, but they definitely were not on the same page as another heavy trade in this top side. And Gigino rematch and Callie G, they're both starting to get low, but Hulzer gonna be the first one up in this top lane and could look for the play. Arctic Assault with Flash could secure the kill potentially, but does not pull the trigger. So it's still just gonna be the two top laners trying to sit at that low HP, but no one's gonna go down quite yet, though. A lane swap is gonna be coming through.
I think Rematch is going to look to push this wave as quick as possible and just kind of hold it and take a reset and teleport back to the bottom lane. I like this play out of CCI because this Rumble is struggling here.
Oh, but Festus going to get jumped to the back line. Same with Gigino rematch. Both going to flash. Callie G with the ignite and the concussive blows. It is going to reach on one more hit. And Bogra Unleashed going to get first blood on the Varus in the top lane. That is not something that is said super often.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Gigino Rematch lived there, held the flash for as long as possible, Richard was able to get up there, and then they's able to stack up that passive, and Varus just walking up there, taking a sweet old time, hits the piercing arrow, hits the hail of arrows as well, and is able to pick up first blood, as Festus at the same time gets that outplay in the mid lane with getting the double root on that W, flashing out of the play that was happening onto him, able to make sure his team gets first blood, keeps himself safe. Gigino Rematch doesn't die, TP's back down to this bottom lane, but it's already answered here by Callie G because he did end up falling down and Rematch had to take it. So yes, the lanes are swapped. We're just in a little bit of Australian lanes, as people like to say, as everything's a little bit upside down.
Yeah, and it is a very early lane swap. I mean, we do see it pretty often for the Grubs, but I mean, CCI, they initiated that super early on their first back in the bot lane. But I mean, they've gotten a pretty big advantage because no one was expecting that. And having the AD carry and the support both coming in early on in that fight, that definitely ended up having that winning trade in favor of CCI. So if it works, it works.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, just looking at CS and everything is basically even across the board. The only gold difference is going to be that first blood gold that is on Unleashed with the 2 assists really helping out in that category. But Dragon is up now, and because of this early swap, no team really has priority for it, I guess. You could say CCI does, just because Holzer is on the top side of the map because of opposite side clearing from these junglers from the level 1 plays. So that means Dragon should be able to be in favor here of CCI for free because also Gigino Rematch does have push in the bottom lane. But now plays happening.
It's going to be in the top side, and they're looking for Bogar Unleashed, but not going to be able to get anything else. Arctic Assault was not in range for the start of the play, but with Hulzer showing on the top side, that's just going to be Azrael getting started on the Drake, and that should just be the first Dragon going over. It's actually Gigino Rematch starting to burn down Callie G, has the level 6, but did not throw out the equalizer yet. But again, both sides mostly even, but small wins just going in favor of CCI bit by bit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be Dragon for the side of CCI, like you did said, but then they're also still able to play for these Void Grubs in the next 1.5 minute when it spawns at 8 minutes because they can just walk up topside with their Xin Zhao as well to take a reset after he takes the Scuttle Crab and then start playing towards the top side of the map. Festus also playing super respectful in this mid lane. He knows he doesn't have flash, does not want to get CC down or anything like that. NBK trying to bait him a little bit, trade with him. But Festus, also low on mana, is probably just going to clear this wave and look for a recall of his own, as we see NBK can be doing that on the mini-map. But also, Bogar is super low, taking a lot of poke here from Mustard in this lane with the Boomerang Blade and the Ricochet as well, getting onto him, being a little bit difficult as Blue Buff is going to go over to Dorado, but I thought there was a potential lane swap again, but you can see that it's just going to keep the lanes the same. A little bit of a late reset here for the side of Dorado Gaming, though, for Grub spawning in the next 40 seconds.
And interestingly enough, Mustard and Gremlin, at the very least, they started to walk down to the bot lane. Gremlin going to be walking over to the top side now. But it is going to be first move once again for CCI. They're going to be in the top side first. Gino rematch even going to be able to get the bot priority first. And TP is not going to be available for the Rumble, so that is going to be a pretty big team fight tool that's not going to be there for the spawn of the Grubs. But I think because TP is not available, you do have Equalizer. You could just throw into the side lane and maybe use it for the next Dragon fight or maybe for the Rift Herald fight later on. But I am a little bit surprised they're moving Mustard down here because I think Mustard does not have a good time into a level 7 Rumble right now.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to agree, especially because Cali G has TP. He could just sit bot lane and TP up to a potential Herald fight. Now GG is looking onto Mustard, but Gremlin behind him.
Grand Entrance is going to come through, but again, the Equalizer is just going to get thrown down. The entire wave is going to get cooked, and they brought 2 to the bot side. Hulzer's kind of in the area, but the Void Grubs are already all gone. As he's just able to get to the top side. They're just hard winning in the macro this time around.
Yeah, I'm not liking how Dorado is playing this early game. Like, I like
NBK is going to get hit. The Frozen Tomb has already been popped, and will use the Fade Sealed. Will buy a little bit of space, and actually will buy more than enough. Will survive, but is quite low. Festus, once that next combo comes up, needs to be a little bit careful. But it's not even going to be the flash burn, but Plate's going to start getting traded across both sides of the map. But Cali G taking a lot of that damage, so the Grub's not getting hit onto the turret. So one plate going over in the bot side for Mustard, and nothing so far for CCI in the top.
Yeah, I mean, because they forced GGNO rematch so far back on trying to make the play happen in the bot lane, Mustard is actually A-okay now. He's level 6 now, as is Gremlin, or Gremlin almost level 6 here, but he gets a plate in the bot lane where he was struggling before, and now GGNO rematch is looking for him again, but there's going to be a second plate picked up here from Mustard, while Bogar and Richard haven't even gotten one in the top lane. They were looking too much for the poke, but there's going to be a potential dive here on the GGNO rematch. No Equalizer, but able to clear away the wave quick enough where it's not going to be able to come through. But on this next wave, there is the potential for that once again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this dive is going to happen. And if they do, it's definitely going to be an even trade. GGNO rematch is really strong right now, level 8. And even without the Equalizer, should definitely take someone back. But instead, they're going to be diving on the opposite end, looking for Cali G, and Azriel going to be able to take that kill. And look at all those minions being lost. Look at all those Grubs just putting more gold onto Bogar Unleashed. And not too huge of a lead, only 300 gold, which with a kill and assist is a little bit surprising. But considering this a 10 CS lead for Mustard, it's pretty good, and you'll definitely take it on the side of CCI.
Yeah, I mean, they're even in plates. It's the 10 CS to the 1 assist. It's just really the kill gold on the side of Bogar that has him that advantage right now, but there's also a 300 gold advantage up in the top lane for the side of GGNO rematch over Cali G. I mean, once again, CCI is looking like a dominant team here, as yeah, Fest is going to be able to get away.
That glacial path was so close. I thought it was definitely past the timer. Really well timed by NBK and Gremlin, but not well enough. Fest is going to be able to just back away. But now the next dragon is spawning in 40 seconds. Both teams already starting to group for it. Azrael going to be a little bit late. We're only resetting now. But if that's going to be the full tunneler, and it is, that's a very good reason to delay it just a little bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, first item here picked up by Azrael before this next dragon fight. You have the full boots onto Bogar as well.
But Bogar gonna get jumped on, Frozen Tomb as well, and Bogar's just gonna go down. One more auto needed from Cali, and actually with the flash and barrier used, Cali G could get traded back, and I think they will. It is still the shutdown and the assisted kill going over to Cali G, so it is worth it. But I don't think Cali G needed to go down there at all.
Yeah, I mean, if those Chains of Corruptions hit, Cali G flashing over them.
Oh, but Fate Sealed getting procced in the top side, looking towards GGNO rematch, but NBK's damage just isn't there yet. It doesn't even have the first completed item, so it's just going to be slowly but surely burning down to the Flame Spitter. Both sides starting to get quite low. The fight The next one could definitely be pretty scary as again the flame spinner over and one flash coming in, and GG no rematch gonna be able to get that solo kill on the top side as now the dragon fight, that's where the fun is, and Gremlin coming in with the quickness looking for more as the Frozen Tomb still isn't there. Frozen Claw coming out over top, and look at the piercing arrow. Bogar Unleashed is now in the fight. Mustard gonna be forced to flash away. Dragon will go the way of Dorado. And it looks like one more kill is going to go the way of Kalaji. Already on the double kill. Looking for a Bogar now, but the Ignite is on. And GG no rematch is going to come in just in time. And with the equalizer over top, Mustard trying to cleanse the slow, but was still in its range. And I'm not even sure how many kills went through there, but the Dragon went the way of Dorado, and the fight went the way of CCI.
Yeah, I mean, CCI, yes, you lose the Dragon, but you hard win that fight. You get even more kills onto Bogart. GG no rematch, gets the solo kill in the top lane. TPs to the Dragon fight, picks up Mustard on the backside. Bogart gets more plates for himself. Yes, Festus didn't have that ultimate, but he creates so much impact in that team fight, getting a 4-man route there to be able to stall out what Dorado is doing and be able to make sure that his team is able to get in and reinforce that play. So CCI is looking good again in this game number 2. Dorado is still having their moments. They can still come back in this game. It's not out of their reach. Cali G, 3 and 4 on this Camille. All of the team's kills, and Camille can assassinate almost anybody on the side of CCI in the late game if he is strong enough. So that is the potential here for the side of Dorado Gaming. The side of CCI is going to have to play very carefully in later game team fights around Cali G's Camille. But so far, they're looking good in this game number 2.
Yeah, they're looking real good. Already at a 2K gold lead. They should be getting pretty close to feats as well. I believe they did get the feats of warfare on their side. And they have the grubs. They have a dragon. Just one more objective is needed. Or first turn, whichever comes first. And right now, both sides are pretty close at taking down those structures. But with the grubs, maybe CCI could have a little bit of an advantage if they do start trading back and forth like they did last time.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Rift Herald spawning in a minute, so you see once again that Bogart and Richard walk up to the top lane to be the ones to respond to that one, to be there for the potential fight. I mean, you probably could have put him in the mid lane at this point instead of in the top lane in case there is, you know, the potential for a dive bottom lane able to make that one happen. But Festus is on the Sandra. He can facilitate dives quite easily himself, as you see him trading in the mid lane with NBK again. Festus has actually been really smart about how he spaces in this matchup overall, so looking pretty good as Cali G takes a worse end of a 1v1 against Bogar there.
Yeah, but Festus coming in with the Frozen Tomb and just gonna one-shot NBK, and NBK, I don't think you should have really been going that far in, and that's just going to be a free kill in the mid lane. But now GG no rematch quickness coming out of Gremlin, looking for the grand entrance, and Glacial Prison over top. Do they have the damage? GG no rematch trying to buy space with the equalize, but the shutdown still going to go the way of Mustard. But at the same time, first turret going down in the top lane as well. So just action all across the rift.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to just go back to Festus. Literally, we've seen him multiple times be out of, just barely out of the max range of the NBK Q knockup, and then just immediately turns onto him. As now he's actually.
But now Festus getting jumped on. Halser looking for the stun, and will be able to get it with the Arctic Assault, and will take the kill for himself as well. So Festus gonna be going down there in the mid lane and wasn't able to take down that mid tier 1. So I'm guessing was just trying to get that, and I don't even see the health bar on it at all.
Yeah, I think it's literally at like 10 HP, if anything like that. But, I mean, that means Bogart could literally just walk up and auto the turret. Like, and he's not going to do it. He's going to play respectful, but, like, that's how low it is at that point. He could just walk up and auto it even without the minions. But, I mean, they were able to get the kill on the Festus on the side of Dorado. Pretty impactful. Sadly, it went over to Holzer and not onto NBK, who would have much more rather had that gold. But, I mean, Tanky Sejuani is a hard to kill Sejuani. We'll just see if Holzer is going to be able to get tanky enough in this game to not get burnt down by GG in a rematch and the damage that can come out from the side of the CCI comp. But Dragon is spawning in the next minute. That's where these teams are going to be focusing as we see both sides starting to rotate towards this bottom side, create vision down here, double pink wards in that mid lane brush. There are no wards escaping them in that one. But, I mean, so far, it's looking like CCI should be able to win the Dragon fight, but with the positioning right now at Dorado Gaming, if they get a pick off beforehand, that will be their angle to be able to get their second Dragon of the game. Richard playing super respectful, not walking in too far, knowing that something could be awry at this point as Mustard is just trying to play as a tasty little treat in the mid lane, try to get them to bait in a little bit too far with Holzer and Gremlin on the backside, ready to go in for an engagement at a moment's notice.
Yeah, and this time around, Dorado, they have much better team fight tools compared to game number 1. I mean, they have the Fate Seal, they have the Glacial Prison, Quickness, even just Grand Entrance, that basic ability coming out from Gremlin. They have very, very strong team fight this time around, but they are back a little bit as Glacial Prison is going to land over to the back. Bogart Unleashed will flash away. Chain of Corruption has already been popped as Cali G Hextech ultimatum onto the backline, but everyone's just going right back for Cali G, and it doesn't matter. NBK with the Fate Sealed, gonna be able to get the shutdown on the backline as Festus, gonna be the next target, and now everything's getting split into 2, but so far Dorado is winning out over top, but GG in a rematch, dealing so much damage to NBK, just a couple more hits is all that's needed, but they're able to back away. Gremlin buying so much space, but the audacious charge coming out from Azriel will buy enough space as CCI Richard able to get the kill. Wind becomes lightning onto Mustard with the slow, and another audacious charge in for the kill. That team fight started so close. Dorado was in such a big lead, but in the end, it doesn't matter. Azriel and GG in a rematch, able to take it for CCI.
Yeah, I mean, Dorado forced everything onto Bogart, and he lived for so long. You had the Flash Glacial Prism out of Holzer, the ultimate charge out of Gremlin, Flash as well. Then Pally TP's in, flashes for the Hextech ultimatum. Festus immediately flashes and puts him into a tomb of his own. And then even NBK Flash Fate Seal just to get the kill onto Bogart, which means there's nothing to stop GG No Rematch from running in here and absolutely disintegrating the health bars out of the side of Dorado Gaming Iota. This Rumble does so much damage when he has no CC to stop him, and that's exactly what you saw in that team fight. And then the chase down out of Azriel and Richard, able to just pick off the stragglers, able to walk back and get the dragon for themselves. Yes, you killed Bogart, but the investment was not worth it because you just end up losing the fight. A nice spell shield there out of Mustard. If he did not spell shield that, I think that is literally...
Yeah, but Fate Sealed going into the backline, looking for Bogart Unleashed. Gremlin's going to be here with the quickness, with the Grand Entrance as well. Glacial Prison over top, and this should just be 2 quick kills for Dorado. Finally finding something for free on the map for themselves. And I'm sorry, that was a shutdown on his CCI Richard. That Braum worth a lot of gold.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how Dorado starts getting back into this game. They're down only, I believe it's like 500 gold right now, instead of the bigger gap that they were in before. Otacon is coming onto the Rift in 40 seconds. They have full bot side control. The bot lane out of CCI, Bogart and Richard just not respecting where the side of Dorado could be on the map and immediately get pinched. And hey, you know, I was a little critical on them burning everything onto Bogart in the last fight, but it seemed to work because they were able to immediately get another kill onto him because he's got no flash, no barrier. They're able to just full send it onto him again. But they have vision control on the spot side. Otacon has now spawned, so if they wanted to, they could look to take a fight, but they have to understand that Cali does not have TP, and he is a lot of their damage at this point in the game, as well as now Otacon is the focus out of the side of CCI, and it will be a 5v4 fight if Dorado is looking for this one.
Yeah, they got the picks in the bot side, but they're still waiting for the Fate Sealed and Glacial Prison to be back up. So NBK looking for the play, but I don't think they can contest this. They don't have the ultimates, they don't have the positioning, and they don't have Cali G. That is just going to be the Otacon going towards CCI, and now the Rift Herald also on the bot side. I think someone eroded for maybe just a split second, so it's not going to charge. But that should still be the tier 1 going down in favor of CCI. But Dorado, this time at least, they are going to be trading on the cross map. They're going to get some decent damage over on the mid lane tier 1. And tier 2 was a potential play, but the TP from Festus is going to prevent that as well.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a better play for CCI, right? They get the Otacon, they get bot lane tier 1, and they only lose top lane tier 1 out of it. They don't even lose their mid lane tier 1 at this point in the game. So they're feeling good about that play overall because now they have the big team fight buff for their team fighting comp, because if Festus CC somebody down and they're able to just get a kill while everybody's clumped up in one of those roots that can come out of Festus, and then also the frozen falls that can come out from them, also getting the Otacon explosion passive if they kill somebody is just going to be so massive for the CCI team fight once that does start to break out a little bit more. And I mean, Dorado, they still have their angles back into this game. I'm not counting them out of this one yet. We saw their team fight around the dragon, maybe a little overextending from Bogart, but they're able to get an immediately follow up onto that play. They have the team fight tools, like you were saying. They have much more CC in this game. They have much more lockdown for everybody on the side of CCI. So this game can still swing either way at this point of the match.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even go as far as to say Dorado's not even behind anymore. I think their late game damage is very, very high. And looking over at the gold, NBK 700 gold over Festus, as 80 carries are both even. Top lane, Kali G is up only 200, so it doesn't really matter that much. But it's just showing that they're big damage dealers. They are not struggling. They are not behind. They are ready to fight. And that is pretty scary for CCI. They will have a little bit of extra gold value. They have one extra dragon. And on top of that, they also have the feat. So it is going to give them a little bit of extra stats as the flash is going to get burned from Bogart. Now the team fight is starting to break through, looking for more. And Glacial Fisher onto Hulzer. Hulzer starting to get taken down to about a half HP, but it's hard to DPS on the Sejuani, but it doesn't matter when your entire team's just free hitting. And now Fate Sealed lands onto 3, and Gremlin in the backline able to follow up, and Mustard was trying to auto onto everyone, but Festus is trying to get onto the backline as well. It's still 3 versus 3 for now, as Bogart Unleashed still autoing into the backline, looking for NBK, and will be able to get it, as now Gremlin still trying to hold, and it is 1v2 left. It is a 4 for 3 in favor of Dorado, but Bogart Unleashed is alive. Kali G and Gremlin, they're both low. But, I mean, that was a massive Fate Sealed coming out of NBK.
Yeah, NBK with the heroics in that team fight, able to make sure that the side of Dorado could win that one. I mean, I don't think Festus popped the Seeker's Arm Guard to get that invulnerability there in the team fight. If we're nitpicking that one, maybe could have played it out a little bit better. But, I mean, overall, Dorado Gaming with the better team fight. And like you were saying, their carries weren't behind. NBK was ahead of Festus. Kali G was slightly ahead of GG in a rematch. And they have the better scaling in their comp this game. Camille scales better than Rumble does. Yone scales better than Lissandra. And Sivir scales better than Varus. So, Dorado Gaming is starting to take this game back under their control. They're slightly ahead in gold for the first time in this match. They're even on dragons. It's just the Otacon and also the turrets that are really in favor of CCI. But we're seeing how close that these team fights are. They can really go either way at this point in the game. And I think there needs to start being an answer for Kali G and NBK.
Yes, NBK gonna get hit into the Frozen Tomb. CCI Richard is gonna be here. Same with Bogart. As now the piercing arrow over top, and NBK should go down, but the Fate Sealed lands under the back line, looking for Bogart and almost gets it. But Bogart is gonna be okay for now. Will be forced to reset though, so not gonna be able to get too much pressure on the side lane. But NBK brought 3 friends to take down Bogart Unleashed before, and now Bogart brings the friends to take down NBK.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that they need to find an answer for NBK, and I guess it's just 3-man ganking him in the side lane, even though he almost did get that kill, as now Kali G and GG No Rematch are gonna start the trade here. But
yeah,
nothing
and we
gonna
saw
happen.
before, GG No Rematch was winning out those trades pretty handedly. But at this point, I think Kali G's just flat out winning on those trades. And with the Ravenous Hydra, can also heal back up to full HP. So the side lane prio that CCI used to enjoy from GG No Rematch is not going to be here anymore. And I think that's really going to change the dynamics of this game.
Yeah, I mean, also Kali G played that little trade out very well. He waited for GG in a rematch to kind of use everything on the minion wave and then went in to trade with him while he has the full access to his abilities and gets the better end of the trade. But like you said, he does have that Titanic, which is going to be very impactful. I wouldn't be shocked to see GG No Rematch build a Morello Nomicon or just even the Oblivion Orbs sometime soon to get that healing cut for that 1v1. It's also good against Yone, Rakan, and even the Sejuani ever so slightly. But now Richard could be the one to get picked off, but they're going to actually look on a Bogart.
Yeah, looking on a Bogart again, and the Glacial Person not going to be able to land. The Bogart just trying to walk it out. No flashes or summoners were used, but On the Hunt and the Glacial Prison have both been thrown out, so they could look to turn the fight right now. CCI, they still have everything, but Azrael at half HP, but the Equalizer over top in the backline, looking for more Frozen Tomb as well on a Gremlin, as the Mustard gets burned down by GG in a rematch, and now Gremlin used the quickness to get away, but a Fate Sealed onto 4, but this time there's no follow-up left. It's going to be 3-0, and the Baron is up, so CCI, kind of a replay of game number 1.
Yeah, that equalizer out of GG no rematch literally hit all the members there and started to cook them down, and then he just immediately ran onto Mustard and NBK in the back line to start evaporating those health bars while the rest of the team focused down on Hustlers. Now Cali G a little bit in trouble, but able to get his way out of that one with that hook shot. But CCI, they had the losing fight around Dragon and immediately get a winning one in the mid lane, getting the pickoffs on the important people. I mean, they tried to get the pick onto Bogart on the side of Dorado Gaming, but he did use that QSS to cleanse the slow off of Hosler's ult when it didn't hit. He also did use barriers, so there was the angle for them to try to get onto him to burst him down, but with the flash being up, he was able to play at a range that he felt comfortable with, knowing that he had flash in his back pocket. So CCI, I mean, this game has been so coin flippy. It's been going back and forth, and it's still at a point where Dorado or CCI can win this one. They just need a dominant team fight at either side at a strong, crucial point in the game. It's going to be Dragon number 5 spawning here, both teams sitting at 2 apiece, and I don't think either one wants to have the looming threat of a Dragon Soul hanging over their head. As you can see now, CCI is going to be the ones to start setting up for it.
Yeah, and as they're setting up, I also want to give a quick shout out to Festus. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but if it was, absolute genius play. The Frozen Tomb was used onto Gremlin. And I think that's what really enabled them to just go all into that team fight. The only thing that could have interrupted them instantly was the quickness and Grand Entrance combo coming out from the Rakan. NBK managed to find 4 of them later on with the Fate Sealed, but it takes time. It has a bit of a channel, needed to find the positioning. Only Gremlin could have interrupted that play, but Festus made sure even that was impossible. And you were talking about the Dragon, but right now it doesn't look like Dorado are even looking for it, as they're looking towards GG in a rematch instead. And now they will go golden, and quickness is going to get used. Same with the Glacial Prison, and GG in a rematch is still alive. Will go down finally to NBK, but in the meanwhile, you're losing your base. Just everything getting tossed into the bot lane. Tier 3 going to start getting hit by CCI as well, and they're looking for the inhibitor. And Dorado, they do get the pick, but they use so many ultimates onto that even if they did bring back all their members, there is no way they could have fought for it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said in game number 1, it's similar to game number 2. GG no rematch is just taking a lot of pressure and absorbing it, and the side of CCI is just able to make the better play on the other side. They don't lose the turret in the top side of the map, but they're able to get 2 and an inhibitor in the bottom side, and now it's going to be fight over the Dragon. Cali G has TP'd in for this one, and GG no rematch hasn't respawned yet.
Yeah, and will be able to get the Dragon over onto CCI. It is 5v4, but GG in a rematch does have TP, but no equalizer, crucially. But now the TP is coming through, and the Glacial Fissure lands onto multiple, but it's going to be Bogart alone versus Cali G. Will get shut down, but the fight's still coming through. Festus lands it onto everyone. Frozen Tomb onto Cali G, but still the damage just isn't there. And now the equalizer is back up, but it's a little bit too little. It's a little bit too late. And it is going to be a 4-for-2 so far, as Mustard is just running down Richard Gremlin, trying to find the angle. But Richard is buying so much time for this. So CCI, they do win the fight, but it doesn't look like they're going to get anything out of it.
Oh, Richard, fight them. You win this one, then. And he's just going to keep running. But like you said, he's just buying so much time here. They're still trying to chase him down. Gremlin and Mustard. Mustard finally gives up. NBK gave up. And now we're going to get a bit of supportal combat here. Gremlin is trying for this one. Mustard going to come back. I think Richard knows he's going to fall down here, but the amount of time he's buying is so impactful.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Richard's just running back away. And the boomerang, not going to land. He has the jump. Come on, Richard. Richard, I believe in you.
He lives!
Yes! Richard survives. I mean, unironically, though, surviving there, and most importantly, getting Dorado to chase onto Richard. That was a massive play. That genuinely bought so much time. They didn't fix their waves. They didn't get any pressure. They didn't steal any jungle camps. They did get the team fight victory, but that's all they got. They didn't even get the objective from that team fight. I mean, as far as a losing play for CCI goes, you take that kind of a loss.
I mean, everybody on the CCI, just win or lose this game, you have to honor Richard after making the great escape from that play. But just looking back at the dragon fight, it was very well played by Dorado. They knew they were not going to be able to get in there in time to contest the dragon, so they tried the slow play. They slowly chased down CCI, were able to get onto the crucial targets. Bogard got completely separated from his team with Gremlins finding the angle to engage on him, and then NBK was able to follow it up when he was just so disconnected, and then they were just able to methodically pick off all the members of CCI. It was a little bit scary at some points once GG did TP in there and had the equalizer back, and then the Frozen Thalls were in the team fight, but there just wasn't enough damage with Bogar not existing on the map anymore. And speaking of Bogar not existing on the map,
Richard could be the target once again, but they've tried it before. Bogar unleashed. Glacial Fish are even going to get burned, and it might not have been needed, but I still think it was good to just use that cooldown just in case there.
you can't kill Richard, Dorado. Learn your lessons. This man is unbreakable. I mean, they tried for the pick. I thought it was there. I saw the angle from the side of Dorado, but just not overforcing it at this point. Trying to save all the cooldowns possible for themselves for the Baron spawn in 20 seconds to go with the vision control that they have here. And now Richard
now going to be face checking into Hulzer, as both sides are going to be looking at each other. But Chunk, I have a quick question for you. What item do you think is the most useless onto Richard?
It's
the
Bramble
GA.
Vest.
Nope. GA, Guardian Angel, would never be used. Richard is immortal and unbreakable, will never die as far as I'm concerned. After watching that play, I have full faith in Richard from this point on. But
you were talking about, about his inventory, man. I was like, it's Bramble Vest. Who's going to auto him? Nobody until everybody else is dead, and then you can't even kill him. He'll probably kill you through the Bramble Vest somehow.
Yeah, I mean, Mustard's going to auto whether he wants to or not. So there is some usage. But, I mean, it's still really funny to watch how this game's going on. We are in those, what is that? Let's call it again. Those 5 minutes of doom between Dragons and Barons. But
Yeah,
Baron is back out on the map, so maybe we'll get some action soon.
I'm a big fan of the LCK lull state is my big thing. Is I love that one where they just go on random tangents about anything. I believe they're talking about like Digimon last week, and never mind, they're looking
Richard,
for
they're
Braum,
going for it. You have not learned your lesson. They're even going to use the Glacial Prison, and now Glacial Fish are going to try and buy some more space, but you left Richard alone, and now they're going to be looking in with the Fate Tilt over to the backline, but Bogar Unleashed is going to survive, and now they have the Equalizer on top of everyone. Frozen Tomb as well. Cali G going to go down, and everyone's just burning down. GG, no rematch. Fire is hot. The fire is strong. And NBK trying to come right back into it, but will get topped down. 3 versus 1. Just never going to win that. And another teamfight victory for CCI. And Dorado, stop going on Richard.
See, as a support player, when my team wins a team fight like that and I die, I go, hey guys, they got me. I guess it's worth it for them. But I mean, yeah. Stop focusing Richard. This man, he is the god of CCI in this game. He finally dies after his inevitable escapes from before, but they forced so much onto just getting this kill on the Braum that it was able to turn into a really positive fight for the CCI. And now it's going to be even harder to kill Braum because he's going to have a Mountain Soul on top of his already really tanky HP bar and everything once he does get that shield up. But, I mean, GG in a rematch with that TP in there with a huge equalizer. Festus even getting into the team and creating so much chaos and damage and using the Frozen Tube, very well, and saving that Zonius for when NBK tried to go back in onto him and get the kill. I mean, CCI is playing these teamfights really well, and so is Dorado. These teamfights are nail biters, but the damage that can come out later from the side of CCI is what's making the big impact once Rumble does overheat and those Frozen Thalls are being executed on and being played around by the side of CCI. It becomes really hard for Dorado to play in these tight corridors that we saw there.
Yeah, and we're seeing exactly the repercussions of that. And with this Mountain Soul, they're going to be in a much safer spot as MBK looking towards Festus. But right now, the Baron has already been started. Festus could be the target now. Hulzer looking for the play, but the play could get turned around. And Equalizer just going to get used to buy space. And that's all they need. That's just another free Baron going the way of CCI. And the teleport going towards the bot side just to keep Cali G from doing anything that side as well. But, Festus got taken out quite low just from that one combo, though.
Yeah, Cali G, despite being 677, is so strong at this point in the game with his inventory. He's got the Trinity Force, got the Sterix, got the Ravenous. He can 1v1 anybody at this point, and now
Yeah,
GG
but now
rematch
Halzer and
actually
GG in a
fall down.
rematch. They're fighting quite hard, but Fate Shield is going to get used, but Zhonya's was used effectively. And I saw Bogar and Richard walking up a little bit as now Cali G fighting with Festus, but I don't know if Festus wins this one. This is going to be close. Frozen Claw is going to be used to buy some space, but Cali G looking for the kill as well. But actually, Festus just wins, and Azrael's going to secure that kill as MBK looking for a play onto the backline, looking onto Bogar. And Helzer actually walks in a little bit too far, has to flash away as Bogar Unleashed using that wall will be able to take down Halzer. And now Azrael is back. NBK is still available. Mustard is up as well. And NBK is going to get set up with those concussive blows. And Festus will be able to get that extra little bit of CC as now Gremlin could be the next target. And with the flash forward, Gremlin is going to go down. Mustard is the final survivor for now, but Richard trying to chase, just trying to zone away this Sivir. And again, another spell shield. Richard does have the inside track though. Could definitely find a 1 auto 1 Q, and that's all that's needed. Now Bogar Unleashed should be able to catch up. Definitely trying. And there we go. Mustard gonna finally be going down here. The Unbreakable will buy the space, and that's an ace for CCI as they're pushing in mid and top at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, what a really smart play there by CCI. Also, Bogart playing around that wall so effectively, like you shouted out, was really good. Also, Festus winning in that side lane 1v1 versus Cali G was not on my bingo card for this game itself. I was saying how strong Camille was, but apparently Festus is stronger on this Lissandra as now they have the Baron buff. They have 2 inhibitors down. They're pushing in the top lane. It's starting to look like CCI is calling checkmate onto Dorado Gaming Iota as they're looking to bring the 3rd inhib. Dorado is going to have to make a stand at their Nexus turrets.
Yeah, and it looks like Azrael's going to be the one to go forward instead. Equalizer over top, Frozen Tomb onto NBK. Halzer going to be the first to burn down. Festus again gonna go golden with the Zanyas, will be able to survive, and the hookshot not gonna land onto anything. That's gonna go on cooldown, and they're just looking for more. But now the quickness into the Fate Shield actually finds many members. Do they have the damage? And it doesn't look like they do. Bogar unleashes those autos over to the backline, and now NBK and Mustard, they're actually trying to do it, but the Nexus goes down. It's 2-0, and CCI, they take the series.
I came into the series thinking that Dorado Gaming was gonna win it, but now CCI proves that they should be taken seriously. They looked dominant in both of these games. This one, excuse me, everybody. Second game, a little bit less than game number 1, but still looked good regardless.
Yeah, I mean, while you get back to normal there, I mean, I'll continue with that point because you're 100% right. I think that especially the macro play that's coming out of CCI has been extremely good. It's extremely clean, and most importantly, they have a plan and they stick to it. I mean, that early lane swap, that was definitely weird. I don't know what the call was, but it doesn't matter because they were in on it together. They were ready for it, and that got them that first blood onto the 80 carry. So it does work out, just even if it's not optimal, if you're looking at in terms of min-maxing, if you're able to just catch the enemy off guard like that, I mean, it works extremely well.
Yeah, and I mean, they performed on almost everything flawlessly in this game number 2. There were a lot of team fights that Dorado did look really good in, able to make this game closer than it maybe should have been after the early lead that the side of CCI had. I mean, hats off to Dorado for making it a nail biter there to the end of that game number 2, but CCI looking super strong here and putting themselves in better position for playoffs. I just remember a lot of talk was coming in the season saying which team is going to beat Dorado Gaming, who's going to stop this team from winning it all. And apparently crowd control in-houses had their number and are looking to make a claim that they are the team that people should be worried about.
Yeah, and I mean, with those closing thoughts, I think it basically summarized everything. But with that being said, thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you very much for watching Aegis Executioners League Week 4. We will be back next week. And I mean, that's going to be another fun matchup as well. We're not sure what it is, but it's going to be fun anyway. Why? Because I said so, I promise. But with that, my name was Tokivi, joining me as my co-host, Chong Selmo. Thank you all for watching, and see you next week.